Well, a long-running rumor seems to have finally come true. We just found out that Jason Momoa will indeed return to the DCU, but he's not going to play Aquaman. He will indeed be playing Lobo in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Let's take a couple minutes to break down and report what trades are reporting it and why this is a pretty big move for James Gunn and Jason Momoa. Well, many DC fans got really familiar with Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry. He actually appeared as a character in 2 separate Aquaman movies and joined the Justice League in both versions of that film. Now, early on in his career, there were tons of rumors that he could play the character Lobo. He's always referred to it as a perfect role, and the character himself seems to almost have been custom written for. Now, at this point, we're getting reports from multiple trades, but the whole story seemed to be kicked off with Deadline, but it's also being reported by Variety and The Hollywood Reporter. But at the moment of this recording, well, James Gunn has yet to chime in, but I feel like this is about as official as it gets. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with Lobo in the comics, he's an anti-hero kind of known for his violence, but most interestingly, his irreverent personality. He hails from the planet Kazania and possesses superhuman strength, regenerative abilities, and an invulnerability that makes him a formidable hero that stood toe-to-toe with the Man of Steel himself. Now, what's interesting is, though, he's going to be joining Woman of Tomorrow, and if you know that comic, well, Lobo is not part of the story. Now, there's plenty of space for Lobo to be part of the story, because this is an intergalactic adventure, and that's where he thrives. But I am very curious as a fan of both the character and Supergirl and that comic itself, it's linked down below, how they're actually going to integrate Lobo into the story. If I'm making any speculations, I suspect he will be sided up with Matthias Schoenaerts' Creme of the Yellow Hill, at least at the beginning of the film, but we'll eventually see a more, well, likable side of the character by the end. Now, Lobo is definitely one of those characters that breaks the rules, and you could totally see him being somewhat of a DC Studios version of Deadpool. There's a lot of easy comedy here, and most of it definitely leans into Jason Momoa's style, so this is a match in heaven. Honestly, this has been one of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood. Early on in James Gunn's reign, we got a video from Jason Momoa where he was absolutely ecstatic, and it was really weird because it was clearly the end of the old DCEU, which meant it was the end of his time as Aquaman, so many fans, myself included, all speculated for quite a long time that he would indeed be the new Lobo, and now it's all but confirmed, and we're just waiting for James Gunn to give us the full-on thumbs up. This adds another major character to the DC universe, and I think, honestly guys, this is a big win for James Gunn and the franchise. One thing about casting Jason Momoa in this role is it's the fan call. This is something fans have wanted, well, since he first appeared on Game of Thrones. And when he was cast as Aquaman, even though he did a fun job with that character, it was really never a great match. Many people have even suggested Momoa was born to play this role, and honestly, I hope it is a huge hit and connects with fans. Now, my real question is not only where he appears in Game of Tomorrow, but beyond that, because if we're bringing Lobo to life inside the DCU, it totally suggests to me there are other plans for the character. I'm unsure if this is going to be his own solo movie, which could definitely spin out of Woman of Tomorrow, or a series on Max, which honestly I think I would prefer because we would get to know the character more intimately over time, and although he has a large comic fan base, he's definitely not what I would call a mainstream character, and once the general public gets to know him, I actually think they're going to love him, and a series might be the best way to do that. With all the recent Batman news kind of being down, this is some great news for DC Studios. I am totally curious on what you guys think of Jason Momoa coming back to the DC universe as Lobo. I find it to be the perfect casting, but I want to know what you think, so sound off in the comments below. Now, before you take off, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell for all the updates, and make sure you get every notification because we do daily Marvel and DC content and we don't want you to miss any news.